Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Awesome. Thank you very much for coming to our session today. I will be speaking about procurement governance and reporting insights in AWS Marketplace. I am Kaushik Raha. I'm an AWS Marketplace customer advisor and have been with the team for over 3+ years. And fun fact, this is my second reInvent and first time as a speaker. I am glad that I get to work every day with AWS customers and partners in their marketplace adoption journey. So let's start with some questions that buyers and procurement users on AWS Marketplace face every day. What did I buy? When did I buy? And how much did I pay for this? Maybe with a quick show of hands, let's see, have any of you purchased anything through AWS Marketplace or are procurement users? Awesome. There's quite a few hands in the audience, which means some of you have had the exposure to AWS Marketplace buying. And for those who didn't raise their hands, I'm sure you will learn something new about how to use AWS Marketplace at scale. We did a study with Forrester Consulting on the use of AWS Marketplace and cloud marketplaces and asked procurement users what are some of their top concerns. And procurement officers said that on an average, 60% of data products and 45% of cloud software purchases tend to go outside of AWS Marketplace, out of their traditional procurement channels, which means this increases the risk profile of their organizations in terms of supply chain risk and potentially the total cost of ownership of those products. Now, big question is, why would we be doing that? Now, we know the value of management and governance that procurement teams focus on. You're responsible for driving cost optimization and focusing on value realization, at the same time balancing speed and agility. You want to maximize the utilization of software assets procured through Marketplace, and at the same time ensure that products are being procured from approved vendors. But a lot of application owners may see this as pushing down on the timeline in terms of how quickly they can buy those products and deploying them. But this is where AWS Marketplace can really help. AWS Marketplace is not just designed to help you try, find, and buy products at scale, but it also provides you the relevant tools for effective control and governance over your procurement operations. Now, you may be wondering, is this a capability that we should focus on developing? The answer to that question is, our study with Forrester Consulting indicates more than 80% of respondents believe that their organizations are investing in capabilities on cloud marketplaces to drive speed and agility, and at the same time, balance in terms of driving down the risk perception associated with cloud marketplace purchases. And so you're not alone in this journey as you work to implement these effective governance and controls. And cloud marketplaces are here to stay. Most analyst estimates show that cloud marketplaces will be growing rapidly and becoming a significant means of procurement for most teams around. So now that we understand why cloud marketplaces are important in terms of effective governance and control and streamlining in your procurement operations, let's see what are some of the tools that we have here on AWS Marketplace for effective governance. First, we have a set of dashboards, the Procurement Insights dashboard and the Single Pane of Glass dashboard for buyers, which enables you to see a complete footprint of all products that you as a buyer would have procured through AWS Marketplace. We have recently introduced enhanced purchase order support because we all know that no procure-to-pay process is complete without finance processing of the invoices that come. So purchase order support for a variety of products in AWS Marketplace enables finance teams to tag their purchase orders, tag their invoices with purchase orders for payment processing. A lot of sellers on AWS Marketplace use the standardized contracts for Marketplace. This should enable your legal and procurement teams to significantly cut down on the cycle time in terms of legal contract redlining, etc., and speed up the process of contracting. And finally, we have private marketplace, which enables procurement teams to build private catalog of products from the standard AWS Marketplace. And these are typically approved products, as we saw in the earlier slide, which is one of the requirements of procurement function. Now let us dive in a little bit into some of these topics that we just discussed in the previous slide, starting with marketplace dashboards. So what kind of information can you visualize through these dashboards, right? The first thing is you can see all of your marketplace subscriptions in terms of self-service public offers, private offers, no matter what category of products those are, through these dashboards, and you can see their spend, usage, subscription, and deployment activity. These dashboards are simple to set up and easy to access. It does not require a whole lot of support in terms of understanding the underlying services. So whether you are a technical user or a business stakeholder from finance, legal, or operations, you should be able to utilize these dashboards effectively. And there is no guesswork going on when you see this information in these dashboards, because they are linked to the sources of truth, such as the cost and usage report that shows you your AWS Marketplace billing activity. Now let's take an example of a real situation that you may face as a procurement person. You have an AWS organization with a variety of different AWS accounts. In this example, account A, B, and C, with users in each account procuring products, which we're calling agreements 1, 2, and 3. Now, as a procurement person, you want to see the holistic view of all purchases across the entire AWS organization, because you want to make sure there are no rogue actors making purchases on their own. You also want to make sure that you know if there is an opportunity to consolidate these contracts. So how do you do that? Well, we released the Procurement Insights dashboard for buyers, which is available to you through the AWS Marketplace console or via an API, which allows you to see this holistic view of all agreements that have been procured through AWS Marketplace. And it also comes with a cost analysis dashboard that allows you to actually analyze the spend associated with those agreements. Now let's take a different case. You have business stakeholders from finance, legal, operations, who do not typically log into AWS console, may not even have access to AWS identity and access management permissions. So how do you get them this information? Because they are all stakeholders in this procurement process. We do have a solution for that too. We have the single pane of glass dashboard, which is a standalone business intelligence dashboard that can be accessed by AWS Marketplace buyers and stakeholders without needing to log into the console. You can access this dashboard through any mobile browser or web browser, and it gives you a similar view of your marketplace spend and usage activity, including your product license grants and deployments. And the best part is, if you are a user which has multiple AWS organizations or pair IDs, this dashboard will allow you to see a consolidated view across all of your marketplace purchases across multiple organizations. So between both these two dashboards, you have a unique opportunity to to get a complete view of your AWS Marketplace activity. Now let's take a look at some of the information that you can actually visualize through these dashboards. Now there are lots of visualizations. I will encourage you to go to these dashboards and see what information there is. There are blogs that explain how to interpret the information. But some examples are, as a procurement user, you may want to know what was your trailing 12-month spend on AWS Marketplace across different products and different vendors. This information is available to you at your fingertips on this dashboard. You may want to analyze how much was your spend month on month across different vendors and different products. Where were the spikes? What did you spend on? You can even see a complete footprint of your entire license subscriptions in AWS Marketplace. In case you didn't realize, whenever you procure products through AWS Marketplace, AWS License Manager, which is another AWS service, automatically creates what we call granted licenses for all those products that are acquired through AWS Marketplace. And you can see a complete footprint of all of these granted licenses in terms of which products have been deployed across which accounts through this dashboard. And you could utilize this information in a variety of ways. Maybe there's an opportunity to consolidate your contracts. Maybe there is unutilized licenses that have been deployed. How do you get to know this information? This is how you can utilize that information. Now, here's a set of resources I've put together so that you can start playing around with these dashboards. At the very right-hand side, we have a demo dashboard of the single pane of glass. Please feel free to scan this barcode. Go play with it. See if it solves your visibility and reporting requirements. And if you do like those, then you can scan the barcodes on the far right that shows you how to deploy these dashboards, the procurement insights and the single pane of glass. And by the way, feel free to come by the AWS Marketplace booth. We'll be happy to show you a demo of these dashboards and explain how better to use them. Now let's move on to another topic, private marketplace. As I mentioned, private marketplace allows you to create a catalog of approved products that are approved for your teams on top of the AWS Marketplace catalog, restricting what people can buy. This allows you to get a custom experience for specific business units and teams, but it also can be used as a guardrail by procurement to ensure that a product is only added to the catalog once the required procurement workflow processes have been completed. So now let's take an example of the types of users that US procurement may have to deal with inside the organization. Often there will be technical engineers who are deploying products inside your, say, AWS EC2 environment. And these may be server products, etc., where you're less concerned about the contract price and the contract itself, but more concerned about making sure that the product has gone through approved technical and compliance reviews before they are subscribed to. And then you have application owners for large enterprise applications across various different lines of business that people can procure through Marketplace as a private offer. This is where you're more concerned as a procurement person in making sure these contracts are going through the appropriate legal reviews. So how does this all make sense together? Well, based on our conversations with customers who have used some of these features, we know that you can visualize the information in terms of deployments across the organization through your AWS Marketplace dashboards for buyers, the procurement insights, and the single pane of glass. And then, once you know your users inside the organization, you can intentionally map the required business processes for each category to your AWS Marketplace subscription types, public offers and private offers. And then finally, you can implement the private marketplace to ensure that you can have those guardrails that the procurement workflows are completely followed before a subscription is completed. This should give you the required procurement governance and controls that you need to utilize AWS Marketplace at scale, because we know AWS Marketplace can be a significant means of procurement. You may be receiving requests from lots of sellers, from your management stakeholders to do more on Marketplace, but you can only do that effectively on scale when you're also deploying the right governance and controls. So finally, what are some of the key takeaways from the conversation we had today? First, be intentional about AWS Marketplace. Know why you're using it, the value that you're getting, and think about that this is a team sport. AWS is here to help you adopt this at scale. Reach out to your account teams on how you can effectively work with AWS Marketplace. If you haven't used it before, be curious. Go to the website, look for the products and vendors that you may be interested in. See the features. There are case studies, customer testimonials. There is a lot of different discussions on the various features, and you can only learn better when you play. Come by the Marketplace booth, see a demo of how this is best used. And finally, the most important thing, you're as much responsible in your organization as any other team to innovate and bring the best to your customers inside the organization. So you have a responsibility to develop these processes and deploy at scale, ensuring a long-term view. With that, I would like to bring my session to a conclusion. If you receive a session survey, encourage you to complete the session survey so that we can get feedback from this.